Linda arrived. Now.
How do I know this thing's moving?
The bus goes to go away.
Okay, now it's going away.
Do it again, Mom.
Well, I don't know. I might have got it recorded before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's going. It's going.
We are waiting for something to happen.
This is Nancy reading the directions. That doesn't count.
We're waiting. Tomorrow's our first.
Now they take us up to St. James. It's a military cemetery. There's 4,400 graves there at St. James. We went to that cemetery. Then there's also a German cemetery nearby. What's the German cemetery? And there's also the famous St. Michael Abbey out in the bay, way out in the bay. We went to that. Then we went back to Avaranches. And this fellow that we went back to Avaranches. And the fellow said, now he was this fellow that had this place in Sorteville now. His dad was a gendarme in Avaranches, which was only 10 miles away. He said, I'm going to show you something. Inside the city of Avaranches, there is a monument made to Patton, a big monument, and there's a tank there. When he was in school, he said he'd tell his school kids, well, what happened? The city of Avaranches, they deeded this to the United States government. It's a perpetual monument to General Patton, a square in the city park there. When he was in school, he would say, let's go to America. So the kids would act, we're going to go to America, so they'd go and play in this park. So they went to America. So you remember when he was a kid, they'd always, well, let's go to America this afternoon. See, so it's great. It was a nice park there. It was a good park from having the, area for the kids to play. Distance fella and another.
Make a date.
And they're going to
You're
have.
in Manual.
They're going to have the resistance. Another fella that was a resistance. They're going to have a little. They're going to go up to the cinema. The cinema. People were filled up in the town. So that night we go back to our house again. The minute we get back, the first thing they do, they bring you more toast and more of that. Now the next day is the big day. Now this is going to be the big day, the celebration. So at 8:30 we had to be in this other town, 7 kilometers, 4 miles away from Portugal. We had to fight for this town of Gatimo. That was another one of our actions, but it was a small town. It was only got a church, a very small town. I gets up there, and the mayor meets me, gives me a toast. He wants me to lay flowers on the monument to the dead, because now they're going to have the convoy start there. They're going to have the military. So we get up there and we have a toast. 8:30 in the morning, and then here comes the paraders. There's a group in Normandy called the club that took all these World War II vehicles and have them just like they were in World War II. Jeeps, half-tracks, trucks, and there's 33 vehicles in this convoy. So of course now we're going to go in this convoy. We're going to be in the front because we're being honored. So we get in this convoy, and while we come up there, and then they also have a sound truck. In a Volkswagen truck, they have a sound truck. They play the Star Spangled Banner, the French, the French national anthem. Then they can also speak. All the mayors have a few words. Everybody speaks what's going on. So we take off in this first town of the Tivo. Then they come after the ceremony. Come in. They have all on the table all these wine glasses lined up and all the croissants. Have another toast, to the Viva l'America and Viva to the war, and so forth. Now we get in this convoy. Now
they don't toast people, they croissant people?
Yeah. Then we go to another town very close by. Now we go through the same ceremony again. We stop, we get off, we walk up to the monument, lay some flowers, have a prayer, have the ceremony again. Everybody has champagne, everybody has toast. They play all the music, and we take off, go to another town. 33 vehicles. Now we're going down. Now we're coming back to Sorteville, which is the main town. The minute we come into town, the church bells start ringing. Boy, the church. People are out there by the hundreds, lining the streets. They're cheering and applauding, and it's a beautiful day, and everybody's just happy.
Just for you 6 people.
That's right.
Wow, what a parade!
We come into town, and all these people they go right to the church. They park right in front of the church. Now the band's out there. The band meets us. so they tell us, okay, coming back to the band. Now we walk around the corner.
Band for Dad and my friends. Great.
Yeah, so the band and then the dignitaries and we come marching back up to the Hotel de Ville.
Proclamation. Marvin Kruse, baby.
And we stay there for a minute. They said, okay, now we're going to march over to church right across the square. So we get back to the band again, and we go this short distance from our Hotel de Ville back to the church. They march us in the church. Now we're still the first. They put us in the front row of the church, you know, and you can see all the different kind of things up there for they're going to have a mass now, a high mass. So they're having this church. Now, out of the 6 group, 2 of them were Catholic, so they went up for communion. But meantime, this girl is interpreting what's going on. Okay, now we get out of church with the band again. So we walk out of the church. Now we walk across the street again to the square. In the square, there's a monument. And the monument, they pull off the monument. Here's the monument dedicated to peace and also our division, 48th Division, up there in the town hall. You'll see that if we get there this time. Okay, so now each one of us is introduced again. And what we've done, and we get up there and they give us a medal. Each one they give us a medal and give us a kiss and give us a medal. So anyway,
was it a girl that kissed?
No, it was a guy.
Oh, forget it.
And then I presented the flag that flew over the Capitol, you know, so that was a pretty good idea. That turned out pretty good.
Keep going.
All right, so now we get through all these ceremonies again, all the prayers and all the music and all the now they march us down. And we get back in the band again. We start marching a short distance. They have a wine honor dinner. So we go in this big hall again. Now here they toast American. They have chairs for us veterans to sit down. All these people come in, shake our hands, and we're having toast again. But okay, let's go now. We got to go across the street to a dinner. So we had to leave there, walk. Now we have another great big hall set up for dinner, roast duck dinner. We sit down there, and they're feeding us, and they're giving more applause, and people are just ecstatic, and you know. Okay, now it's time to go again to another town. We get back and we go back to our vehicles. Meantime, the vehicles come up. We go to the vehicles. Now we start to go to another town. We repeat this thing again to another town. We get through that town. We end up with 6 different towns that we go through. Finally, the last town, there's another buffet set up. But now it's...
Many Christmas.
Yeah, right.
We just ate and drank all day. So now it must be 6:30, 7 o'clock. Now we have another meal there, buffet style. It's okay. Now we got to hurry back because they're going to have a dance for us in town yet. So we had to get back at 8:30. After 8:30, we get back to Sorteville then. Now they got a big orchestra playing the music of the 40s.
Matthew must have been in heaven.
Oh, gosh, see. And it's a good band.
A real orchestra.
Oh, a real orchestra. They're playing all this stuff, you know, and all this good music. Finally, 11:30, the band quits. Now it's time to go back home. So from 8:30 in the morning to 11:30 at night, that town, that city was ours. I mean, they just couldn't do enough. I mean, they just gave us everything. They also gave us a CD. Everybody kept giving us gifts. Along the way, some towns gave us bottles of cognac. I brought 3 bottles of cognac. Not only give him drinking, take us some home yet, you know. So I brought 3 bottles of cognac home with me.
How do you declare those on the airplane?
Nothing, just.
And where are you from? Yes, no, I know you. I know you. And who's
as soon as we want to go, we're fine, and then 5 buses arrive at the same time. Victoria. That was built at the end of the last century. That's right, about 1890. In 1990, they pop concerts, classical things. They have the big Remembrance Day concert here, which is very moving in November every year. There's a lovely building, the Royal College of Organists, that's just been sold. Okay, building. The ones, yeah, that was the back of it. Yes, the one behind was the Science Museum, and the other where we are now, and Regent's Park, where the zoo is, up to the north. Hyde Park, they call it the lungs of London, breathe here. On the right side here is a horseback. People can go out on boats, people come and feed the ducks. And they also have the Serpentine Swimming Club. And people come even if they have to break the ice. London home of Princess Di. And you can't see it, it's the other side of the tree. Executions. A few hundred years ago, you know, of course, Paris, they have the guillotine on the Concorde Square, or they had, they don't have any more. Here's where they had the Tyburn tree, and people at the same time. It was like they called it a tree. So, but people came, they had seats. People came to sit and watch, like they used to do their knitting when they watched the guillotine. It was Newgate Jail along Oxford Street. And so people could then throw rotten fruit at them. They were brought in open. So this is Marble Arch. Right in front of us, that's one of the main shopping streets, which is Oxford Street. Some people mentioned about South Queen Victoria stagecoach. So, let's not. We'll turn around.
Mirror and empathy. Grosvenor Square.
We're having a holiday today as well. So here's Eisenhower here on the left. Security, they won't let us stop here, but you'll see plenty of this is the Rock Circus. There's also the Planet Hollywood is along here. You know the hamburger restaurant, Arnold Schwarzenegger's one? Planet Hollywood, it's just a block along. They have them everywhere. Column, the top, Lord Nelson, Admiral Lord Nelson. This is from 1805, the Battle of Trafalgar, in southern Spain. So it was Lancia. So on the left, St Martin in the Fields, and here on the left side. And just on the right side, it will be the Australian High Commission, just on the next block. The Great Fire of London. It wasn't his first design. So just we can see. So it wasn't his first design. The first ones weren't accepted. It was actually the third design that he made. And then this is Queen Victoria in front. This is where Prince Charles and Princess Diana got married in 81. And it's also the memorial to Sir Christopher Wren. It was his masterpiece. And inside there's his tomb, and it says, "If you seek my monument, look around you." And this is his most famous masterpiece, although there's 83 churches he designed in the city. Green Gallery, you can also go right up into the dome if you So we come down into the city. Then made of wood, and they just couldn't stop it from spreading. Eventually they had to destroy a lot of houses just to stop it from spreading. It was still burning some of it in March the next year. Quite amazing, this fire. Sorry, we're not allowed to stop here, but just sneak slowly through so you can just have a saw on the left-hand side if you have a look at the left. That one! Ah! That's what you all think of London Bridge, isn't it? We could stop just a second, I can't let you off, but what we're going to do is we're going to stop by the Tower of London, which is from 1894.
100 years old this year.
It's nice, isn't it? You think he bought that one? But London Bridge was actually, it was the only way across the river. This was the only interest in that sort of thing. Hangings and tower you need a bit longer to visit. We just make a short stop here. It means it's not controlled by one particular brewery, so it would have beers from different breweries. Most of the pubs are controlled by one of the main breweries, so that they would have predominantly that beer. Right over towards the East End, towards Canary Wharf, so we'll go past there tomorrow.
There's the Tower of London over there.
So you'll be able to walk down here. We're going to stop over by the tower, through to the right. So, the Tower of London, built after the, William the Conqueror's idea after the Battle of Hastings, that he would build this, a great fortress for London, a lookout to see the ships coming along the river, perhaps.
Yeah. Mom, get up there. I hope I got it. May have been a pause.
You want to get the picture?
Maybe it's on now.
What happens when you point this thing differently?
You can look that way down.
Yeah, I know, but it's.
All right. Get a picture.
On moving. When you gave it to me, it was on.
You can see part of it.
Okay. Time you want to go?
We'll see the obelisk on the Caen. Now I'm afraid you won't be able to see the statues. They've named after Sir Benjamin Hall. All over the world. We're going to stop on the bridge the other side, and you'll be able to get a super view. That's really the best place on the other side. So this is all the Houses of Parliament, Houses of Commons, and the Houses of Lords. On the left side, Oliver Cromwell here.
You gotta remember to get back.
No, that's why I hope some of it's on here.
Richard the Lionheart's this next one here, the sword here. So they're not working today either. The Houses of Parliament here on the left. You can't actually go in there unless you MP, your Member of Parliament. But they're not working today. We'll get a super view from the other. Okay, he was actually executed eventually. Now Guy Fawkes, every year on the... So as we turn across here, you'll see you get a lovely view from this side. Going across Lambeth Bridge...
Turn around, get up. We'll take a moment. I thought we were going to get London money, but we're not.
No.
Got 5 pounds?
The Methodist Central Hall is on the left.
Mom and I are at Hampton Court. These are all the different chimneys, different styles.
Here's about the clock.
And here is the different style from Henry the
sun. Can you get it into the sun?
Okay.
There's 2 more behind there, though.
That's good.
The golden disc is the phase of the moon. But really very importantly for importers, you can work out the time of the high tide at London Bridge. You see, Henry would arrive in his great houses that lay along the Thames on his barge. It took about 5 hours to row up from London. So even if you didn't see the king, which was increasingly likely as he got older, because he became very reclusive. You could leave.
Okay, 2 seconds. I figure the white ones will show up with their braided tails. Get their braided tail.
Yeah. Entrance.
Yeah.
That we just saw the back of Windsor Castle. And then there's 3 entranceways. First one, the second one had the big gold clock, and then the third one was the fountain, the maze. And you're trying to find the middle, which no one knows where it is. You don't know which way to go. As you see, I picked the wrong way, and here's the dead end. I found the middle. This is the middle. Consists of 2 benches and trees. Now you gotta get out. Out. You never know what's behind a turn. There's Hampton Court. We're on a busy street on a river, on the bridge to the river. Oh, here, let me focus up.
River Thames is full of ducks and boats.
Behind that is where all the gardens were and the maze.
Castle that belonged to Henry VIII. We're in
Portsmouth.
Thank you.
We're entering the castle now. Can I walk with this thing?
Yeah. If you put it down, you'd probably go up better. Let's go to the tunnel. Yep. Just the way they are. What's that? It goes through here. Ooh, this is like going through the tunnel. Most people think.
This tunnel's very short. You have to duck through here.
Huh? Oh, there's a little air hole. Now we have a relationship to the castle.
We're in the outer wall right now, looking out to a locked gate.
Stand up. What did you go up there though? You that kid was up there. Oh, well, I can get 10 with that thing. Get up there. You must have to climb through in the middle.
Here's everybody eating lunch down here over by the bus at the Overlord Museum. Lighthouse built in the early 1820s. The lighthouse marks the deep water channel for vessels entering Portsmouth Harbor. It is still in use and therefore closed to visitors.
Come over in. I got a picture of you now. Here.
Nice shoes.
Okay, Southwick. This is where Eisenhower had his headquarters when to get ready for the invasion, where he gave that order to Pawnee to let's go. The Asians started right from here.
And they went.
Yeah. His meteorologist came in to report it was storming out. And the ships are all ready out to go. He postponed it one day. The next day, the meteorologist came in and says, we're going to have a period of clearing. So he made his decision, let's go.
Okay. Will be followed by other messages to the peoples of the countries on the western coast of Europe, which are occupied by the enemy. The Supreme Commander, Allied Expeditionary Force, General Dwight D. Eisenhower. People of Western Europe. A landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for the liberation of Europe, made in conjunction with our great Russian allies. I have this message for all of you. Although the initial assault may not have been made in your own country, the hour of your liberation is approaching. All people, men and women, young and old, have a part to play in the achievement of final victory. To members of resistance movements, whether led by nationals or by outside leaders, I say, follow the instructions you have received. To patriots who are not members of organized resistance groups, I say, continue your passive resistance, but do not needlessly endanger your lives. Wait until I give you the signal to rise and fight the enemy. The day will come when I shall need your united strength. Until that day, I call on you for the hard task and the strength. This landing is but no feeling with the campaign of the great battles lie ahead. I call upon all of the freedom to stand with us now. Keep your faith strong. Our arms are resolute. Together we shall achieve victory. You have just heard the complete outside leaders. I say, follow the instructions you have received. To patriots who are not members of organized resistance groups, I say, continue your passive resistance, but do not needlessly endanger your lives. Wait until I give you the signal to rise and strike the enemy. The day will come when I shall need your united strength. Until that day, I call on you for the hard task of discipline and restraint.
Leaving England to go to France.
Portsmouth related, heading toward Cherbourg. 0 minutes on the PCR tape. How does this thing reach the end? Does it stop?
Tape a day, that's all you should take. Then we're going to have so much to see in Frankfurt, cruise down the river.
For one of the units there, that got a heliport. It used to be a fortress, and now there's homes like that.
This is a sailboat also crossing the English Channel going to France, next to our boat here. Not much visibility on this trip. We still have 2.5 hours to go before we get to France. We're entering the breakwater at Cherbourg, France. As you can see, the time is now 6:43 a.m. in Chicago. It's close to 1:45 p.m. here. I'm on the port side of the boat.
Okay. I got that. Okay.
Sailboats here leaving the harbor. There's one there. One there. One there. And there's another one behind. And the buoy.
Who figures the course on a board ship? What do they call him?
Navigator.
Navigator.
As you can see, everybody's up here on the forecastle of the boat here, pointing toward Cherbourg. passengers are now returning to their vehicles for departure from the ferry.
People selling flags, everything you can imagine. A couple of monuments here on the left side. For the 82nd to 101st Division on the left there. And the gate is open if you want to have a look inside the church.
Where do we get out? This is Dad getting his certificate at Omaha. Oh, this is Utah Beach. This is Utah Beach.
This is a good picture with that and the background with that. With the horses? Yeah, but I think this is a got barbed wire.
Notice the horses riding on the beach.
With the horses? The horses really bad. Yeah, horses don't look real. I mean, this is not a Club Med commercial.
Oh, I missed them. Linda's trying to get the mom and dad's attention. There they are. They're inside.
Don't hit me.
This is at Utah Beach. Alright, I'm getting you, Linda. There's Linda waving like a nut. Hi, Linda. Okay, let's go get Tom on the beach. Where's Tom on the beach? Tom is missing from the beach.
Missing in action. The first casualty.
And over there we see some people on horseback.
Still, I was going to say.
Here we are on top of the memorial.
Can you swing that camera that fast, Nancy?
Why not? I can do anything I want. And here's the missing Tom we couldn't find from the beaches. And Linda acting goofy from climbing over the wall landing in the barbed wire. This is the German fortification that was first taken over from the Germans. I think Sainte-Mère-Eglise. A memorial dedicated to those in the United States that lost their lives on the liberation of the beaches here at Utah. Linda and Tom are behind. Mom and Dad are still in the museum. That's the fortification. Here's Linda being a hero. And to our right, we will see where the museum is.
this beat that still looks like the way it was, you're going to go to Omaha, it's not going to be as great. So this is more realistic than the one in Omaha. It kept its prime condition like it was. Very little activity as far as commercialism goes.
Okay, go ahead.
The museum at Caen, France. The pain woke me up. The fraternity relieved my pain, and from there flowed the stream of liberty. The Allied flags.
I couldn't decide whether to leave it or not.
De quitter leur pays et de rejoindre la diaspora, c'est là toute la question.
Nous sommes surpeuplés à cause de nombreux enfants qui viennent du Tibet.
It's all jiggly through here, Nancy. It's all jiggly through here.
La misère et qui pourtant représente l'avenir. C'est cet avenir qu'a voulu défendre le Dalai Lama en créant ce village pour enfants le 17 mai 1960.
What about Otto?
If you can't have it at all.
I can't have it in Otto?
No, not until at least you get...
Oh. The memorial for the United States Armed Forces.
How do you know it's going?
You look inside. Does it say pause? If it doesn't say...
From the heart of our land flows the blood of our youth, given to you in the name of freedom. This is the monument built by France in honor of the Americans.
mighty Vice President for being with us today.
Je puis vous redire tout son attachement envers nos libérateurs. C'est un grand honneur pour moi de vous remettre la médaille commémorative au nom des bâtonnements. Cette médaille qui va vous être remise marque un événement capital.
In the name of the people of Lower Mountain. This medal, which is going to be presented to you, marks a major event.
Vous avez pu voir le long des routes ou des rues de grands panneaux sur lesquels il est écrit en juin 1944, nous leur avons dit merci. En juin 1994, nous leur disons bienvenue. Aujourd'hui, à chacun de vous, je vous
Today, to each of you, I want to say personally, welcome and thank you.
Notre territoire, et plus particulièrement le littoral, est jalonné de scènes fidèlement suivies. Aux inscriptions rédigées en diverses langues, anglais, polonais, norvégien, allemand et bien sûr en français. Elles témoignent des terribles combats dans lesquels des milliers d'Alliés ont donné leur vie. La Basse-Normandie entend profiter du jubilé de 1944 pour rendre un hommage à la mesure du sacrifice des hommes.
Like a peace dog, right?
Sunbeam. So much fun.
Okay, the church girls and stuff.
Let me get another one with all the flags.
One on his shirt and the one on his...
I get close up now.
August 13th.
Before that, there's so many people. This place was thousands of people around here.
Cool.
Ready for a wedding. Getting ready for a wedding.
I said, I did not know that to say that. You got us all. I never had to go to the cafe. You got us all. I had to ask where the cafe. I said, well, I got to be up the road here or something. Anyway, so we'll see the fair. I'm so surprised to see you. Oh, you. Yes, because I oh, this is time. This is such a great time. When you want. I heard about it. My So you can tell a little bit.
Ah, il était si content qu'elle pouvait arrêter ici parce qu'on était ici avant.
Parce que le chauffeur mécanique m'a dit pas de t'arrêter là.
C'est bien amusé. Oh là là, ah, il y a le mariage.
This morning we'll do something in
Police. Comment ça va? Ça va? Bien.
We can't talk to each other, but they smile a lot.
On parle tout à l'heure, il y a un Américain qui était là il y a 3 semaines, il est arrivé là. Je le vois, là, je le vois de dos, moi. Whenever you arrive, I saw your back. Alors tout le monde était regardé, puis il y a l'interprète, elle me dit comme ça, mais il y a un Américain qui est venu là de la 28e. Tout à l'heure, il y a Christian Robot. Ben l'interprète, hein. L'interprète. Et avec eux, tu l'as vu, non? Ouais, elle est aux toilettes. Chez les Canadiens, on discute. Ouais, c'est bon. Alors c'est Monsieur Mulot qui était le porte-parole, qui a organisé le truc de... C'est pour ça que je dis ça. Ouais, c'est ça, ma oui, on avait fait venir les Américains. Alors c'est pour ça que je disais tout à l'heure, si on irait bien en Amérique, voir des
Yesterday he fell at Omaha Beach, so we gave him a Purple Heart.
Il a tombé hier, il s'est fait mal, comme ça ils ont donné
Ah, ben ça va mieux maintenant. You feel better now. All right.
Let's relive the
We got the Purple Heart on there, the picture of it.
Yeah, beat him.
I want to try a shirt. I like the shirt.
Le rêve américain, l'American
Horse riding.
In this area, the river is the best river to fish salmon.
Il en est remis quand même.
Okay, I want to get pictures of Tom. Where's Tom? The illumination. I know which camera it is.
I'm right here.
Did you get mine? Get a picture.
Cherchez la femme. Cherchez la femme.
This looks very blurry. There we go. You guys can move for mine.
This your mother?
Well, we have to go now. We're behind.
There's them.
For her, the first time.
Well, it's good to get back.
Oh, yeah. I ran a home by accident.
Yes.
Maybe translating is wrong, but I think I'm going to stop over that.
Bienvenido.
I told my wife on that, and I told people.
Oh!
Your leg. Your leg.
No, let's let me turn the rain off. It's not me. No. I take away no responsibility for this. Okay, we have Monsieur Christian and Monsieur Henri who are with us.
Anything. All right. Locked the stuff down. I did, but nothing happened.
It's well done, bien cuit. If you ask for it bien cuit and then send it back 3 times, it will be almost dead. Alright, 3 times.
We're in the city of Calais, France.
Calais Gap. Here's a piece you can have a bite of this.
Calais Gap.
I already had a whole lot.
This is the Calais Gap where we're filling the gap. We're filling the gap.
I think down there you can see the castle right down the street there. What is it?
Oh. I know. It's 11. I can't get it up on cart.
Let's go see that.
Okay.
William the Conqueror's castle.
We'll see where William the Conqueror was born in this town.
This is the birthplace of...
The town is the birthplace.
William the Conqueror.
This is his...
William the Conqueror was born here.
No, that's his castle.
He was born here, but that's his castle.
His mother was the daughter of a Arlette. Some wealthy daughter.
Let me wipe my hands on your condensation.
He first saw her washing her clothes in the river and was love at first sight, so she rode her horse away.
Across the bridge, and they had a son, William.
River and through the woods.
Arlette was the mother.
You stand up on the hill, Linda.
Germans surrendered in large numbers there. So as we turn just to the left side, you'll be able to see the donjon, the dungeon. We'll just stop for a photo here.
Good time.
What?
You gonna go?
Now.
This is the city of Chamois. Some Polish fighting here too. There's Dad. This is the castle over here. Can't see a whole lot. Trying to identify these flags here.
Where's that? That's not Godiva. Yeah. I got a pen.
Side from here as well. Now apparently there are restrooms somewhere. There is a part you can go inside.
Thank you, Tom. That was very informative. This final blow destroyed the German strength and was the decisive element in the victory of the war, 1939 to 1945. This is the front of that memorial.
Yeah, they came through here.
Oliver.
Wow.
Have a quick look up to the right-hand side. You'll be able to see the office area of La Défense, right up on the right. There's also in the middle, there's the big arch of La Défense. So what they've done in Paris is thrown all the ugly office buildings way, way out into the area of La Défense.
No.
So we don't have to look at them. So it hasn't spoiled the city at all. There's only the tower.
It's not an insight noise. Oh, my shoes would love it. Well, I'd rather pay the extra $15 now than come back and pay $50 when you come back, I know. You know what I mean? No. So we can do that?
You can do that. They go every half an hour. You can tell them.
Do you already have places?
Look at this. Look at that view here.
Here you go, Tom. Oh, you would get it when we're up there. Hey!
The girder's going through is interesting.
I
Well, I have to look straight down from here. I wouldn't feel so good.
Both on the Rhine River going down.
Down you come here, is
Got another level right down below, so we're all right. Yeah, this makes you feel better. Yeah. I mean, if I were looking straight down, I'd have a problem.
I don't know if any of this will show up on mine. It's pretty. Look at that river. Isn't it beautiful?
I'm the same way.
I go on the edges to grab me. I don't remember this, but I think that's the only thing.
Now if you go back to the river, follow the river along. There's a lovely bridge that has 2 rows of light. We'll go over there later on. Behind it there's a big square with an obelisk in the middle. Yes, that's the Concorde Square. Place de la Concorde. And then the next bit that's lit up is the Louvre. And there's also a building that's lit up, it looks like green glass a little bit, on the right side, with a rounded roof. That's the Musée d'Orsay, with the Impressionist Museum. Behind it there is a building with the Pompidou Centre, the Modern Art Centre. Now, all on the left side, this is the left bank, or the Latin Quarter on the left side. Notre Dame is way in the distance on the left, to the left of the Golden Dome, but it's not very well lit up because it's in scaffolding at the moment, so it's being renovated, Notre Dame. There's 2 towers, but it's a bit hard to see. They're standing up like this. There's some yellow lights right behind it. So this is where Napoleon is buried. Behind on the right side there's another building with columns, which is the Pantheon, where Victor Hugo was buried. And there's the Luxembourg Gardens are there as well. This is where the Sorbonne is, in this area, the left bank. Now along here, this is what's called the Champ de Mars, the Mars field. And right at the end is the military school, that Napoleon was a cadet there, École Militaire thing. Go up to the other end building, just straight in front of us, yes.
The Australian Embassy.
See that there is a long island in the middle of the river. At the end of the island, if you count 3 bridges over, in the middle of the bridge is the Statue of Liberty of Paris. Right in the middle of the bridge where the boat is turning. It's green and it's right in the middle of the 3rd bridge. Way on the way to Versailles tomorrow, further in the distance. That's where they have the Roland Garros tennis, French Open.
That makes more
Alright. Okay. Go to the other corner.
This is like the big...
Here you see the Palace of Chaillot that we passed before. The fountains are off, but they'll probably come on again in a little while. And you can see where all the people are. We'll go there at the end of our tour, so you can take a lovely photo and just enjoy the tower when it's really lit up. La Défense, with the white arch in the middle. That's the big arch. The Arc de Triomphe is over here. That's the middle one. And you'll see the carousel, the little one, later on. We can have the one.
The one with the light, and then the side, the dark, maybe dark.
is the total visitors since the Eiffel Tower was opened in 1889, and all the years cumulatively. When it first opened down in 1889, there were almost 2 million people visiting here. Currently, it's over 155 million people. This is looking straight up underneath the Eiffel Tower.
This is one of the biggest tourist money makers up there. Tourists who have lost millions of dollars in insurance.
See from here.
It looks horrible, Tom.
Like Twilight in it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's what's so nice in Paris, is that you've got this huge great perspective everywhere.
And stuffed horse.
Wonderful. Now we're going to turn over one of the loveliest, or the loveliest. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the horses up at the top. There are two palaces on this street. This is the Grand and the Petit Palace. I got there later on. Just to give you an idea. I couldn't see it. So across the
Entrance. President lives.
Oh, the ladies. Further down.
This isn't his favorite
Bonsoir.
place to live, but it's one of them. Always under guard.
All that on the left.
Designer.
Gucci. The stuff at the end.
Not for all the designers.
Very heavy skirt.
And we'll turn along to the right. We'll go straight. And on the left-hand side, behind the Madeleine Church, you can see on the left the columns aren't renovated yet. They need to do all those. Right at the end is Beauchamp. Beauchamp, this is where you can buy all your truffles and foie gras and very expensive gourmet food store. This is one of the grand by a Canadian. But this is the old one, designed by Charles Garnier. He's the same chap who designed the casino in Monte Carlo, the Opera House. So eventually there was 3 in a row, this one.
Oh, that kind of pyramid. Little large.
All sorts of, there's a Virgin Megastore, there's all sorts of shops actually underneath.
Oh,
I think before that, wasn't it? It goes back a long way, South Beach, so I think they've used that for a long time, but the other ones are quite new.
Before they try to get rid of all the American words
South
they
Beach.
don't like.
Yeah. There on the left side. Now, it's strange, but they actually used the guillotine as a form of execution till only about 20 years ago. So, but not in public. It was it was still the form of execution.
No. So really, the rubies on the right, and the diamonds on the left.
So if you look through on the left-hand side. For a quick photo.
No, it's on autumn.
Oh, put it on Twilight. Oh, it's the next one on Twilight.
It's so blurry.
He's right there.
Beautiful. Oh, I think I just had that song the whole time.
And on the other side, we have our national song, the representation of our national song, I mean the Marseillaise. And you notice the beauty of the local limestone which was used for the bomb all Paris. You know that Hitler had put mines everywhere in the capital itself, all around the capital, and Paris could be a real bomb because Hitler wanted to make of Paris a second Varsovie, you see. And so Hitler gave the order to bomb all Paris, and Dietrich von Scholtitz refused to obey to this order, and so that's why Paris was received by Dietrich von Scholtitz. And it is a thing that which is not already so well known, but I think that we have to say it. And so Paris was liberated on the 25th of August in the year 1944, and the Allied troops at their head the French General Leclerc, so entered Paris by the southern part, I mean what we call la Porte d'Orléans, the obelisk standing in the middle of Concord Square. On my corner behind the trees you will see the American flag, because here you have the American embassy. And between the two palaces facing us, you will a man who had killed children. So now we are driving along the gardens leading to Louvre Palace. And a bit further on the right hand side you will see a long building with two huge clocks, and it is housing nowadays Orsay Museum things during the 16th and the 17th centuries until the year 1682, when the King Louis XIV decided to transfer the French capital out of Paris to settle it in Versailles. And so in the years, long galleries of this Louvre Palace, which is one of the largest museums which we have in right to the French dictionary. And so they try to defend our French language against the English invasion. And in spite of its name, it is nowadays the oldest bridge which we have in the capital, because when the first stone was laid in the year 1578, it was the first bridge which was made in stone and not in wood anymore, and it was especially the first bridge which hadn't any houses on it. And with the time, all the wood bridges, an equestrian statue representing Henry IV, the first Bourbon king, the grandfather of the King Louis XIV. In a moment you will see on the right hand side some buildings which are not located on the left bank, but are located on City Island, the cradle of the capital. Because le concierge was the title given to the governor of the royal residences. And nowadays in the hotels you have still the concierge, who is a rather important person in the hotel. See? Troops, and the other one was in the part of the German troops. And you had a terrible battle which took place here. You had as well some tanks just in front of the cathedral, and on these 85% or 75% of retired Catholics. So then from here you have a pretty view as well. Again, but I just wanted to tell you we have...
So before getting here to make the entrance about the cathedral, I just wanted to let you know the way to go back to the bus without getting lost. So I wanted as well to let you notice the beauty of these western facades. On the left hand side you have the portal dedicated to the Virgin. In the rather
Maybe it was Charles Lawton up there that do. I thought it was Hunchback. Maybe it was his.
Right here.
The other way. The other way.
Get turned out and go. See Mom and Dad over there?
Yeah, I see them. Wave.
Wave, Mom. Oh, they're coming. Here they come.
Okay.
Sit over here and it won't be jerky. Sit down and you can hold the camera still. Otherwise they're going to jerk.
Where's Linda?
How do you lock it now?
There. Wonderful. And I'll get you two.
No, I don't need a picture here.
August.
Wait. Okay.
August 29th, 1944. To this racetrack right outside of town. That night it was overcast and raining. We pitched a pub tent in the park because it rained during the night. Next morning they gave us K rations. We came out of the park right by the Arch of Triumph. We started marching down by the Arch of Triumph and kept walking down the Champs-Élysées. We kept watching, kept marking. We finally passed the Place de la Concorde, where General de Gaulle, General Leclerc, General Bradley, General Collins, all the army officials were there. After we had walked by there, we had a double time. Of course, more troops were coming in back of us. We kept on going, and we kept walking all day. Meantime, the people were ecstatic. They were giving us flowers, they were giving us drinks, they were cheering us. It was just another great fabulous time, which you'll never always remember. After that, we kept on going till about 5 o'clock that night.
The vista leading to the white cupola of the Observatory of Paris, and in the gardens, meridian. But you know that for the time we are deep in England. Is named in French L'Hôtel des Street Things. Hotel means at first see the beautiful decoration all along this facade. You notice the relief representing the King Louis XIV above the main entrance. You can see as well the military decoration all around the dormer window. He was exiled on the island of St. Helena, where he died on the 5th of May in the year 1821. And he's got the allowance to bring tone of paint. And in the background you can see the white facade of Trocadero Palace or Chaillot Palace, and you can see as well the gardens, named in French the Champ de Mars, Marsfield, huge originally as
was the goddess of the nature, the goddess of the fecundity, and so that's why they were organizing a lot of official ceremonies at the beginning of the spring. And this statue was found on the side of one of the temples dedicated to Hera, and it dates back to the 6th century BC. So it is really what we call the archaic time. And when we look at the body itself, we're not the victory of Samothrace to commemorate the great victory which took place on the sea and against Antioch, I mean Syria of nowadays. So this statue was discovered by chance again by a peasant planting his field in the middle of the 19th century. remade at the beginning of the 19th century for the second wedding of Marvin Margaret Kruse, who got married here in the year 1810. Then you have one of the most beautiful paintings, I think, made by Leonardo da Vinci, named The Virgin in the Rocks. And here you have La Belle Ferronnière, painted again by Leonardo da Vinci. In British Museum, you have as well another Virgin in the Rocks on the side and on the extremity of the fingers.
Which one? Raphael. Sister Mary. Elizabeth. Child and John the Baptist. Look at my painted on one. Once she was getting painted, there was all kinds of musicians around the room, which would have caused me to smile. One of the first things, the hands and the front.
But when they saw the painting, maybe they were really shocked because they said that there was no and I think that they were wrong because on the show, when she was
Christ in the center. And this was out of the New Testament corner with Solomon and King first. Painted himself in white.
Only one shot in which one they were making the last script.
The water already turned to wine. And a little dog on the table.
And a cat playing.
The wedding of
King Francis I.
King Francis I is the king in the red profile.
Water too.
Right.
New Testament.
The Palace of Versailles.
Everybody has to get out of the way.
Back to the Castle of Versailles here.
Oh my God. In this room, there's two paintings named in French trompe-l'œil paintings, eye illusion paintings, because they were made to give us the illusion that the room is wider than what it is really. And you notice especially the reflect of the light on the false painted columns. And in the background, you recognize the architecture. These doors to the left and to the right hand side are four swords, just to make the balance with the real wall. And you have again the cross of the Order of the Holy Spirit, order founded by the King Henry III at the end of the 16th century. Then you have the sun, the emblem of the King Louis XIV, so that's why his name was the Sun King. Then under you have the hand of justice and the fleur de lis. And you saw already all this decoration everywhere, but he kept his way. And this will let you notice that before everything, he was King of France and nothing else. So everywhere, it is representing the Queen Maria Lepczynska. She was the full wife of the King Louis XV, you know, the one who had so many mistresses. And you can see it on the right hand side again. I wanted as well to let you notice on the floor, so this is the Sainte-Mère-Eglise carpet, made in the Sainte-Mère-Eglise manufacture, created at the end of the
The gardens off the back of the garden off the Versailles.
Maria Leczinska and Marie Antoinette, and this bedroom is the exact reproduction of the Queen's bedroom, as the Queen's bedroom was when the Queen Marie Antoinette left definitively Versailles on the 6th of October in the year 17...
Here's the garden. That's how it's a Versailles.
Yes. No. So these gardens, I want you to come here with you because...
This is why I go with people. I have no idea. Take a picture of it. I like this stuff, that's cool. France, Cathedral of Rheims, bombed in 1945, and doing some work on it now. Rheims, France, Joan of Arc. No problem. Go right over your head.
No problem. Rheims was the supreme headquarters for General Eisenhower during the war. After when the war capitulated, when the Germans gave up, they brought the German generals here, General Jodl and Keitel, and you've probably seen pictures of them signing the peace treaty. It happened right down here. Well, we'll get to the school room. We'll show you where he signed the Germany capitulated and signed the end of the war, May 8th, 1945. And they had camps outside of the town here, Camp Old Gold, Camp Lucky Strike. They brought us back in there, gave us all different clothes, sent us on the train, and went back to the United States from there. World War II.
Oh, World War I, Linda.
Yeah, it was, well, there was some, of course. Of course, there's all. When they were retreated, they had a bomb. Oh, yeah,
sure. World War I, Linda.
The Germans had retreated beyond this area. So they
never really bombed this at all.
No. Well, they had some, but nothing.
Scattered fire or something for the start of our second. Okay. Oh, that's, I don't know.
Well, we sure can't read it. Family.
Well, up there. Yeah, up there. Upstairs they have the table, but Eisenhower wouldn't come because he said he wouldn't shake hands with any German general, and he sent Bedell Smith.
The actual treaty
And here's your casualties. It had 661,900 casualties so far as the 7th of May. The 12th Army Group, which was the Americans, had 404,700. So that was the American first 12th Army Group under tragedy.
What day is this?
7th of May.
7th of
They
May.
went away, and that's how many casualties that they had.
This shows that there was planned 20,000 and the actual 8,000.
That's a discharging of supplies. Tonnage, daily tonnage. That's what it was coming off Antwerp, Ghent, Bahar, Rouen, all these towns.
Right, I can't see a thing of this.
So most of it was coming at that time from Antwerp.
This is what we just took upstairs. Now they have the reproduction downstairs.
All right, let's get a picture of this table. How they were sitting.
General Jodl.
Hiya.
He's the one that surrendered for the Germans. Now that's Bedell Smith. He's the one that represented for the United States and Eisenhower, those two there. This was a Russian delegate and British.
Tedder,
yeah.
Okay.
So these two were the...
Now explain why Eisenhower wasn't here again.
Jodel's assistant. Jodl was the one that finally... Jodl was the one that got hung after the Nuremberg trials.
Explain Eisenhower again.
Eisenhower was not in the picture because he would not meet with any. He said, I will never salute a German general. And normally when they come in, they salute each other. All ranks salute each other. But he stayed in another room. And Bedell Smith had to give him his, the one that signed for Eisenhower. You got to do it again.
No, just the idea.
Okay. No, take a minute. Okay.
We're in the Luxembourg, right outside Luxembourg City. Kind of. Explain a little bit about CEBA. What is?
Okay. Here, this is the. Okay.
Can you say again what it is and what it stands for?
Okay. It's a certificate of appreciation for his contribution to the liberation of Luxembourg, edited for the 50th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge and its liberation.
Wonderful. I'm getting a bright light. It must have been. Thank you very much.
It was great to see you again.
Pictures in Luxembourg.
Now we don't know whether to say auf Wiedersehen.
I asked somebody to have a picture of all of us before I leave.
Okay, auf Wiedersehen. Au revoir. How do you say auf Wiedersehen? Luxembourgish.
We say au revoir.
Bye.
This certificate and medal was given to me by CEBA, which is the group that studies the Battle of the Bulge, well, they call it the Battle of the Ardennes. Mr. Gene Millmeister is the secretary, is the vice president of this organization, and he's writing a book about the Battle of the Bulge, in which he just told me I will be mentioned, and a picture of me will be in that book. So
oh, really?
The book should be published in November.
Oh.
So evidently, it's going to have an American publisher also. It's going to be written in German first, and then written in English. But this organization is a group that has been studying about the Battle of the Bulge which they call the Battle of the Ardennes, since for the last 20 years. And they are very instrumental in keeping this memory and the incidents of the war alive. It's a great, he just told me there's 500 men that belong to this organization. For a small country like
40,000.
40,000 people.
400,000. We're in Luxembourg. We're Patton's
American
there.
Battle Monuments Commission, Luxembourg American Military Cemetery.
Patton's grave. He's in front of everybody else, facing them. Here, close up. Patton's grave. Patton's grave, and there's theory that Mrs. Patton was buried also under here where the ashes, somewhere near these dolphins, which she believed in reincarnation, that she would return as a dolphin. So there's these little terrace pools, the fountains are not on, and there's dolphins here.
How do you look at all the places you can walk for yourself. There's little stairs all over and little paths.
And this one down here.
And there's a little stream down there.
So you basically have to build it up like this, and then you're 150 feet off the ground putting the arches on.
Let me get a picture of the little stream and the little train.
This is like huge.
I saw that one. Let me show you that.
Up and go two abreast, full speed all the way to Arnhem, and go into North Germany and end the war within a month or so. And it was a daring plan, and it almost worked. The few things, mishaps that happened is, number one, in their planning, they didn't think there were so many Germans up there as there were. They thought most of them had been more disorganized and pushed into North Germany and Holland with the fast advance it made, and they didn't think there was really any heavy artillery or armor up there. Both of them were mistakes. But anyways, they was going to take the 101st Airborne, the American 101st, the American 82nd Airborne, and the 6th British Airborne Division, and drop them all along that highway. It would be spread real thin, and they were, as soon as they landed and cleared that highway, these tanks of Montgomery was going to race north. Well, everything went fairly well along. The 101st Airborne Division, they were dropped, and they put gliders in just north of Eindhoven, and then they put the 82nd in just north of that, and then they put the British 6th Airborne Division there at Arnhem, with backup and reinforced by the Polish Brigade, Airborne Brigade. Let me collect all my thoughts and see where I'm at right now. Pretty good. The 101st, they cleared their area. The problem is the Germans did have quite a few tanks and armor up there that we hadn't planned on, and along this highway we were going to clear. In a lot of places we could only clear it about a few hundred yards on each side, so that the Germans was pretty successful in closing it. We did counterattack, close the area, and then we'd clear them out, and they'd counterattack someplace else and stop the advance there. So, anyways, we were about 2 or 3 days. I believe it was about 24 hours or 36. They were supposed to reach Arnhem from the jump off. The British tanks were. Well, I think it was about a week before they did it. And the British, they figured they could hold Arnhem, the Arnhem Bridge, which was a crucial point, for 2 or 3 days at the most. Well, it was about a week before the British tanks ever got there. Well, they had some German generals in the area at the time that reacted a lot faster than we had anticipated. Also, when they cut the road through, and they were consequently they were able to finally almost annihilate the British and the Polish regiment there at Arnhem.
Thank you.
Belgium, which was we had already recaptured and come across there, and we wouldn't get any ground fire. The other route would go north over occupied Holland in near Eindhoven then. But that put us over occupied Holland. We didn't think we'd have much ground fire, but we got a whole lot more than we expected there. I did get hit and knocked the whole side of the glider out, but it was pliable, so I hung on and took it on in to the landing zone. Also, at that time, we were always short of glider pilots, so we only used one pilot per glider. It was set up to have 2. Well, going into Holland, it so happened that this sort of an extra large number of glider pilots got killed, and of course that destroyed the whole glider load of airborne. The airborne troops wasn't too happy about that, losing a whole glider load of 15 people just because one glider pilot got killed. So they told the Air Force, no more of that stuff. We had to have 2 pilots up there before they'd go. And when we made the next airborne invasion across the Rhine at Wessel, the Air Force really didn't believe it until the last minute that they really meant it. They wanted 2 pilots on there before they get in. So at the last minute, they rounded up some the lowest ranking power pilots and stuck them in the right-hand seat. Some of them had never been in a glider before, but at least they had a pair of wings on them. They said they were pilots, so they went ahead and went with us.
Thank you very much.
Into Arnhem, but there's a pretty good movie based on this. It's based on a very good novel called A Bridge Too Far. and it's fairly accurate. One of the kind of bad things about Montgomery, I don't know if it's necessarily bad, but he had to have all his logistics in place.
Look at Ork, he's so funny. He just jumps around.
All these crazy Americans run off and take the runs off.
Those guys going fast.
Why is there
What's the name of the bridge, Mom?
Bridge over the Mars. Mars? M-A-A-A?
Yeah, this is the first one. Yeah, this one never was captured. I don't think none of them were ever, Germans ever blew up any of them. They got a lot there. On that side. Yeah. You'll catch some more on the other one.
Yeah, I'm sure. 82nd took it, 82nd Airborne.
We see a lot of them in Illinois. That's probably your warning. How about that? Went to the left. That's true.
More like
September, the liberation of Over-Assault.
Gallery bus.
Sculpture.
Did you want a photo? If anybody does.
You want to get that outside?
It's not very picturesque.
Shoot like that. Right? You wouldn't be.
She asked me why our intelligence was so washed up, and it was from the word go, it looks like. Naturally, and something like that was a disaster. Afterwards, why everybody was blaming everybody else, which is natural. But it seems really the start of it was sometime previously, the British intelligence had really been burnt on the Dutch underground intelligence. They had a double cross and a few other double crosses, and a lot of their agents underground here in Holland was murdered because of it. So the British intelligence did not trust the Dutch underground intelligence at all, and they were told to disregard anything the Dutch underground told them. The Americans didn't have that experience, so they trusted the Dutch intelligence. But because it was a Montgomery operation, his responsibility to carry out, the Dutch intelligence, the British intelligence had the lead role in this. And the British commanders over here, they were told not to trust the Dutch underground whatsoever and disregard what they were told. The Americans did exactly opposite, and they took the information and used it. So that's really one of the main causes. We really didn't have the intelligence to go on. So that's the way it came about.
That's right.
What?
That's right. British or the Americans? Americans.
Americans were right by trusting the Dutch intelligence?
Yeah.
Those are comments by Noel.
Another windmill coming up.
Dutch ducks.
We'll see if I'm going to go to Oosterbeek. Kind of woods like this. Rhine.
That's exactly right. Right by the corner.
Yeah.
Oosterbeek. It's located just out of the city limits of Nijmegen. It was made dedicated mostly to the American paratroopers who were landed in this area, the 82nd Division and the 101st Airborne. Up in Arnhem, the British landed, but this museum is dedicated mostly to the Americans.
That's how they crossed. The Canadians crossed the wall here. The Meuse, the Wall, and the Rhine. This is the second river.
The 8th Army Air Force is built into the most powerful air forces in the world, stationed in Britain. Normandy Beach, June 6, 1944.
Staffs are drawing up plans in order to end the war before the end of the year. The code name of one of these plans is Market Garden. Market stands for a massive attack by the 1st Allied Airborne Army. This army comprises 3 airborne divisions and the Troop Carrier Command that will fly them over to Holland. The airborne divisions are the 101st American, which is to land in eastern Brabant between Eindhoven and Uden. The 82nd American, earmarked for the Nijmegen area. And the 1st British Division, which is to land near Oosterbeek, Arnhem. They are thus to prepare the way for Garden, a big push by the 30th British Corps. This corps composed of 3 divisions and 2 independent brigades, supported by numerous tanks, is to break out from the Meuse-Escaut Canal bridgehead in Belgium, south of Valkenswaard, and next push on in 3 days via Eindhoven, Veghel, and Nijmegen to Arnhem. If this plan succeeds, the Siegfried Line is bypassed and the road to the heart of Germany is open. Also, the Allies can then push on towards the Zuiderzee and then stop the plague of the German V2 weapons on London, which has just started. On Sunday morning, September the 17th, 1944, Market Garden is launched. More than 800 bombers and about 1,500 fighters carry out heavy attacks in the theater of operations. Subsequently, more than 1,200 transport planes and gliders carry the 3 airborne divisions to their objectives. In the Nijmegen area, at about 1 p.m., the 3 parachute regiments from the 82nd U.S. Airborne Division are dropped. They are the 505th Regiment with Brigadier General James Gavin, the young division commander, near Klein America, southwest of Oosterbeek. The 504th Regiment near Overasselt and Grave, and the 508th on Wielerbaan, northeast of Oosterbeek. The commander of the 1st Airborne Corps, the British General Boy Browning, and his staff land in some 35 Horse gliders between Brugg and Bredeweg near Oosterbeek. He will be badly hampered in carrying out his assignment by faulty radio equipment, making communications with his divisions in Brabant and near Arnhem all but impossible. Over the first few hours, operations in the Nijmegen area are running smoothly. The 504th Regiment captures the Maas Bridge at Grave intact, and, in conjunction with the 505th Regiment, also the bridge cum Laak over the Maaswaal Canal near Herme. Groesbeek and Bergendal are liberated, as in the evening the small town of Grave is also. The 508th Regiment is fighting its way into Nijmegen as far as the avenues round the city center. But German troops rushed in.
There's a C-47 transport plane, Skytrain, who's the glider behind it. Over Nijmegen.
With the glider behind it. This is kind of overall shot up here with all the planes.
Underneath the parachute, Nijmegen Museum.
General Ridgway was at Langley when we were there.
Concentration camps. Not
These are concentration
camps? Yeah. Colditz? Oh yeah, Colditz, yeah. That was a...
Where's that other one?
Pilsen or one in Belsen. Belsen should be up to the British back in Belsen. Belsen.
Explain these things again for listeners. Bradley?
Sorry. Bradley was in the 12th Army Group, which consists of the 9th American Army under Simpson, the 1st American Army under Hodges, the 3rd American Army under Patton. Devers had the 7th Army Group, which consists of some troops here and also the French down here. So he was in charge of that group. And then Montgomery was in charge of the Canadian and British Army up to the north. But by that time we had so many divisions, this was all Americans. So we had many, we ended up with 60 some divisions over here. And the British only had about 3 or 4 divisions, so we had manpower. Did I hear something this morning? Somebody in Australia?
Yeah, she said she heard it yesterday.
Somebody got killed in Australia?
It's suspected that Chinese triad group who are involved.
Station in the background, be pretty. We'll get this for the
Over in the big window, Linda.
Here we are in the Hotel Mercury of what city in Netherlands?
Nijmegen.
Nijmegen.
So that'll help free up Daryl's evening.
Oh, we're going this way, Linda.
Right.
And the shutter.
What?
10 francs is worth 7 German stuff? German?
I don't know if you're going to get...
German.
German has Deutschmarks.
So my 10 is for...
Can't take a picture.
Yeah, I got a couple of pictures. Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, they are.
I'm so sad.
I don't know anything about that.
Only were if they were satellite dish.
Microwave?
The bar bridge, the riverboat down the road.
Is this where we walked? This is where we walked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's our ship we saw. I think.
The Mississippi Delta Queen.
Yeah, sure. Actually, no, that's not the one we saw. We saw one back way down there. By that.
No, this is it.
No, that's not. We didn't see the
Yeah.
Queen.
No, that other
We
one.
saw that second one. I mean, that first one. Oh, there it is. That's the one way down there.
What, the white one?
It was right by the ramp. The ramp was the second point.
So the last stop in Holland today in the Netherlands. We're turning around by there in just a few minutes. That was 300 pounds.
They seem to be. That was the great church in 1500.
Okay, see what it says up here on the plan.
All right, Dan, I want a picture of you and that in the background. Here. Like in the bridge in the background. Alexa, you have
never taken by the British, could have stopped the war 6 months earlier if they had, the Germans.
The September celebration. That's why the soldiers are painting the statues and the...
I should remember. I said, I
hope we don't see anyone fall off of there.
Well, you get them looking good.
It looks like it's from Hanseatic.
It's old.
You'll see similar architecture up in
It says Arnhem 44 to 94. It's got a British flag and another flag superimposed together.
With the bridge at it? It says 4494.
And this is in front of the Catholic Church of 1422 in Arnhem. Celebrating September 17th, 1944. September 1994. The page too far.
B-A-S-F. So John Frost Brugge. A brugge is a bridge. John Frost Brugge.
We're going across the bridge too far. Named by Browning, General of the 6th Division for the British.
I didn't understand it was little. Green trees on each stick all the way down.
It's the Rhine River.
Yeah. Birds on their
birds.
Okay. What's that?
Harlem means no wood.
Never did that.
We came over this.
Yeah, we went over here this morning, and we're going back now. See the Delta Queen?
Yeah.
The Mississippi Queen? Yeah. This is the same we had this morning going over the other way.
We've got a good name of rain.
Where is the train? Oh, on the bridge.
Okay.
Train on the bridge and air bridge.
Looks better at night.
Upstream in the spa, the downstream river. You can write everything. You want to... Go back over the miles again. Now also, if anyone would like me to reconfirm the...
Ties up and it has a big overall picture of the whole valley, of the whole countryside. Well, it's just a NATO plane.
They always go.
I don't know where we're at. That didn't work.
Why are they so close together?
That's the way they fly. They kind of protect each other. They're both there looking out for each other.
Entering Germany. Farewell to Netherlands.
Role model bond.
Looking under the sign then, no red circle round the 130. As fast as they like.
Where's the Ottoman? Why did they call it that place? Right.
Name and address. Christmas card.
German countryside.
It's your birthday. Nancy,
These are the trees where, like the Hürtgen forest, where Dad's division experienced the most bitter of fighting.
skin.
There's no fat under it.
That's skin, like this is skin?
Right.
This is scar tissue right here. Isn't that weird? I was like, like 4 foot 10, 4 foot 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus, I could too know. That's what your hero piece.
So I was at the front row in graduation class. Short people in front. That's me.
You like fat you?
Very good.
5'7", 5'8".
She's getting bigger.
What's all you? Save it for the Rhine.
What the war looked like from about 20,000 feet in 1944. Early in 44, there had been some considerable disagreement between Ike and Tooey Spatz, who was the commanding general of the 8th Air Force, as to what role the 8th Air Force would play in the coming invasion. It was Tooey Spatz's idea that he should retain control of targets that were picked out, and he was in favor of continuing the strategic bombing, mainly of Germany. Ike didn't agree with that and felt that control of who picked targets should be under his auspices, and so he took his case to, I guess, General Marshall in Washington, who in turn went to Roosevelt, and Ike's wish was granted, and subsequently Tooey Spatz went back to Washington, and Jimmy Doolittle became the commanding general of the 8th Air Force. As a result of that move, those of us that were over here in late spring and summer, about half of our targets, particularly around D-Day, were in France. In fact, in the days immediately around D-Day, I would say about 90% of our missions were in the area of the coast. However, Tooey did have a point, because one of the problems that we had with our targets many times in France were bridges, and from 15 to 25,000 feet up, some of those bridges were awfully small, and we had difficulty picking them up and hitting them, but we kept going back until not too long after D-Day. There weren't many bridges left in France, so the targets began to move out. In fact, by about the second or third week of France, where it was mostly facilities that could provide for repair for planes and tanks and whatnot for the German army. As the targets became less frequent, then there was not as much need, and the 9th Air Force began to move into France, and they were able to give very close support to the ground troops. We went back to strategic bombing and made many runs into Germany for about the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then when the campaign to break out from the beachhead occurred, then we went back to bombing the targets in France that had been repaired by the Germans, so that they would again have difficulty reinforcing their troops or providing air support again. Now, to give you a little perspective on how our bomb runs were carried out, we bombed by squadron. By that I mean that it was the duty of the lead ship to pick up the target and basically set the bomb run. We went in from what we called an initial point, which was about 30 miles or so from not take any evasive action. Each squadron had about, if it was at maximum, had 16 planes in it, 4 diamond shaped. And the idea was to lay down a pattern of bombs. Each plane had an intervalometer on it, and we could regulate the distance between the bomb over the target. It was the job of the navigator then to watch the bombs release, and as soon as all the lights went out, you threw the salvo lever regardless of whether the lights were on or not. The lights indicate when they went out, the bomb supposedly had dropped. Well, sometimes they didn't drop. And so we threw the mechanical salvo lever to mechanically release the bombs in the event that any of them were hung up. Now, at least in one case, we were carrying booby trap bombs, and the bombs did not release even after I threw the salvo lever. So since they were booby trap bombs, if they were regular bombs, we could take them home and we would land with them. But if they were booby trapped, then we would fly out over the North Sea. In this particular case, we had 3 of them still in the bomb bays, and the bombardier got out there with a screwdriver and mechanically released them. About this time of the year, we were beginning to go back to bombing Germany, because at that time most of Holland, most of Belgium, all of France was held by the Allied forces. And on this particular day, our target was Karlsruhe, which is just a short distance south of here, and then on I guess on the 9th, then our particular crew flew its last mission, which was at Mainz, which is also just not too far south of here. You probably won't hear Andy or myself talk too much about what we did during the war over the next 2 days, because we're not too popular in Germany, I don't think, even today. But it was an interesting experience, but one that I'm happy I had it, but I'm happy not to have to go through it again.
Thank you very much.
That flew the resupply mission on the 18th of September into the paratroopers, and our group did fly that mission. We practiced for a few days before the drop, and actually lost one plane in the practice sessions. One guy hit a flagpole, and the plane and the crew was lost. That actually was, from the standpoint of losses, was the toughest mission that we flew. They had us coming in and dropping pretty low from in order to keep down the flak. Unfortunately, we were supposed to, I shouldn't say we, I didn't fly the mission, but the 3 squadrons from our group that did fly it had to make a slow climbing turn after they dropped, and when they did, the flak tires were very heavy in that area, and I don't think intelligence knew that either, because the flak tires took a heavy toll. They lost 16 planes, I believe, out of 48.
Later on. Oh.
Plastic.
3 blocks away, we can see it from there.
We are in Cologne, Germany.
Well, that's just a bus.
Electric lines.
That bus didn't have electric lines. It was just driving down the tracks.
Oh, they're the old city gates.
Battery. Come down later. I like the other one that you got better. It had better pictures on the side. Clouds and polka dots. Oh, the balloon.
The little lamps. on, cars. Come on, cars. Hurry up, cars. Hurry up, cars. Hurry up, cars. One. Spot. And I'll get another one. Get a couple.
We're at Aspenberg Street, in the middle of Caen.
The brown one, yeah. Now I'll get a green one.
Here we are in Bonn. Beethoven's birthplace.
Here on the right. Here's one on the left-hand side.
Where? How do you know where it is?
Yeah, that's it, Bongasser. That's where he was born, number 20.
Number 20. Where's number 20?
Who knows?
I have no idea where well,
see the large building right up at the top of the hill.
Trees.
Seven Hills, where they buried, or where they hid the seven dwarves.
So where they hid Sleeping Beauty, or
where the seven dwarves hid Sleeping Beauty. Oh, there. That's probably where the slept on it.
Here are the taxpayers We don't need to move to Berlin. This is a town called Rolandseck.
Remagen, Germany. The 6th Armored Division were successful in establishing a bridgehead here for the first time, March 7th, 1945. Dad's 23rd birthday. 10 days later, it was demolished by the Germans. 28 Americans died. 5 German officers were executed by Hitler for their failure in defending this bridge. Here's the other side of it. This, of course, is the Rhine River. Correction, the bridge collapsed on its own. They tried to bomb it, they couldn't. It was the Germans that were trying to blow this up, but couldn't. Here we are. Nancy's on starboard. Linda's on port.
We'll starboard.
Paddle faster, Nancy.
This ain't the end of it.
Returned to the Rhine after crossing it 50 years ago. Americans were on the right, Germans on the left. The bridge it overtook it finally was at Remagen. Now we're cruising for the first time down the Rhine.
It's called the Enemy Brothers, the castle of Starrenberg and Liebenstein. So the Starrenberg castle, the first castle, is divided along the River Rhine, and the second castle called Liebenstein, it's from the 13th century. The village on your left-hand side, that's a pilgrimage place of the Sancta Maria called the Bornhofen, and here in front of the village you can see a Franciscan monastery. And at the town coming up in front on your right-hand side, that's a spa town called Bad Salzig. Bad means spa. So that's a special spa resort with radioactive springs. Rotterdam in Holland, it's 1,000. And in between the kilometer numbers, you can see the white stripes or white marks with the smaller numbers. It's every 100 meters in between. And the half kilometer marks, so the 500 meter mark in between the kilometer numbers, that's a black cross into the white tilt. And the castle and the head of us now on your left-hand side, that's called the Mouse, and around the next bend we can see another castle called Cat. And Cat and Mouse in your language, you know, Tom and Jerry. So Mouse is the nickname of the castle. The real name is Turnberg, and that castle was built in the 13th century. It's now a hotel, and into the Mouse Castle it's also a falconry.
So when he said you had to go through that bar to get into the church, which was a Catholic. There's a silver mine off on the right prior to the Mouse Castle.
So behind us the Mouse Castle, and in front on your left, Castle Cat, and on your right-hand side is the Rheinfels Fortress.
And the other is Rheinfels Fortress.
That was fun.
The tale of the bygone ages keeps brooding through my brain. The faint air cools in the gloaming, and peaceful flows the Rhine. The thirsty summits are drinking, the sunsets flooding wine. The loveliest maiden is sitting, high-throned in yon blue air. Her golden jewels are shining, she combs her golden hair. She combs with a comb that is golden, and sings a weird refrain that steeps in a deadly enchantment the listener's ravished brain. the doomed in his drifting shallop, his trance with the sad sweet tone. He sees not the yawning breakers, he sees but the maid alone. The pitiless billows engulf him, so perish sailor and bark, and this with her baleful singing is the Lorelei's gruesome work. That was Mark Twain's version of the Lorelei. And escaped to their boat on the Rhine. But old Father Rhine would have none of it. He turned the ladies into stone, and there they lie forevermore. These are, some people bought the books about the Rhine. Father Rhine tells his tales, so there's a few of them in there. So still see some of the old city walls and towers. Isn't that the... Rock. It's now a hotel, as you can see on the left. Was stood at siege for over a month at one time, in the Middle Ages. There's the Faust, built by not King Ludwig, but King Ludwig the Bavarian, in 1402. There's the left side, the Faust, P-F-A-L-Z. So we'll stop just here.
Hello, Bergtaube.
Oh, no, what is this one here?
Rich with blossom trees, and fields which promise corn and wines, scattered cities crowning these, whose far white walls along them shine, as through the scene which I should see with double joy, wert thou with me. The river nobly foams and flows, the charm of this enchanted ground, and all its thousand turns disclose some fresher beauty varying round. The haughtiest breast its wish might bound, through life to dwell delighted here. That's Lord Byron. That was also quite nice.
The Cat's Castle gave a salute to Napoleon. The horse was thrown by the sound of the cannon. He ordered the...
I can see how the old tower was taken with
destroyed and was rebuilt.
Towns haven't really, apart from the TV aerials, over on the boat. So it's cleaning up a little bit.
Discussing that the fish had died, all except the eel. Now it's
I've only been once, I think, all the time I've been here was January, I think 79, when we weren't able to do the Rhine boat because of the weather. Occasionally it has flooded. On the right side is yes, decked out as mysterious as the Nile, spangled with gold like a river of America, covered with fables and plantains like a river of Asia. Starving, and they knew that the bishop had a lot of grain in his barns. So they said, please, we're starving. Please let us get some grain from your barns. He said, sure, help yourself. Take as much as you need. They were delighted. They went in, they helped themselves. They took as much as they possibly could carry, filled everything they had with them, and they were just about to leave when the bishop closed the door and put the latch on the door and burnt the barns down with all the people inside. But the mice who lived in the barn, they managed to escape. And they followed the bishop, and he thought, right, I shall escape. I shall take my boat and I shall go to a little island in the River Rhine. So he rowed away and went to his little island, but those mice, they were very clever mice, they swam and they swam, those mices, and they caught up with him on his little island. And what do? It swallowed him up. And at the end of the wicked Bishop Otto II swallowed him up, gobbled him up, then swallowed him. Even a mice can't swallow as much as it.
This is where right up there. The bishop.
If you look through on the left side, it's a yellow tower. The mouse to be on.
Oh, there.
There you go.
Okay, just 2 seconds.
This is why.
Well, but I better last a whole piece of meat.
That's the rock. We gotta turn this over here.
It cooks pretty fast, too. It's gonna need more than that, Tom. It cooks
You look like all movie.
the most memorable event. And Tom, also, a toast to all of the veterans who have enriched us by their stories, and for everyone actually here, because in commemoration of everything that's decent, I want to commemorate everybody here. I'll buy that. Those that make cheers to the veterans. Cheers to the
That'll be another year with Christmas here.
I got you.
See you in a few years. See you next time. Okay. Okay.
We're going to